What's up, y'all? I'm at work, chilling in the truck, drinking on my Topo Chico. Little lunch break. But I was watching this video and made me think. I said, let me make a quick response, or somewhat quick, about Jehovah's Witnesses and Firstborn issues. There's been so many channels who be like, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses, Colossians 1:15. Oh, they're wrong on Firstborn. I'm talking about maybe not very recently, but there's a channel called Gospel First, Light Over Dark Ministries. Kelly Powers is another one. Shimonian. Theology with Seth. That was the guy's Theology with Seth. He made one. But with the issue with Firstborn is, first of all, there's a problem with the language. Meaning, sometimes we'll end up talking past each other. I saw a video with Jeff Durbin. He does a thing, Apologia Studios. And he met a brother, a witness who was street witnessing. And he goes over to him. The brother mentions Colossians 1:15. And Jeff Durbin, of course, goes into, it means preeminence. And the brother just shakes his head. And it struck me at that time that at times when you're having that dialogue, so make sure I'm talking loud enough. At times when you're having a dialogue, you can end up talking past each other. There's no, it doesn't seem that it's mutually exclusive to hold both of those concepts, preeminence and birth order. So you guys aren't stating your clear position. Your position is diametrically opposed to the Jehovah's Witness position. So when you say firstborn, you actually mean not necessarily a birth order. That's your position. That firstborn can mean not necessarily a birth order. Our position is, no, it does mean a birth order. So I said, let me make a quick response or a video, not too long. And it's not to make a positive case for how we understand firstborn. That's not the intention. The intention is only to do an internal critique of the Trinitarian position and how it essentially doesn't work. So you'll hear the Trinitarian go into their spiel. And honestly, Dale Tuggy and the Socinians, that's Carlos Xavier, Anthony Buzzard, these guys, well, we tend to overlap in some areas. So Jehovah's Witnesses overlap with Trinitarians in some places. And now the Socinians overlap here. Oh, yeah, yep, it means preeminence, because they don't want there to be a preexistence for the Son. Jehovah's Witnesses accept a preexistence. So when they see Colossians 1:15, they go, yeah, it must mean preeminence. So they are on board. So this is kind of a response to them too. When you say that firstborn can mean preeminence, one of your go-to texts is Psalms 89:27. Okay? Psalms 89:27. Look, David, it says he's a firstborn, but he's not a firstborn. So therefore, it must mean that he's preeminent. Okay? That logic doesn't work. Okay? The full scope of the information, it's a truncated version of all the data. First of all the data is like this. When you look at Psalms 89, 26 and 27, you recognize in this context and elsewhere, firstborn is a relationship term. So it's telling you, you're not a firstborn in a vacuum. It's telling you David is a firstborn in his relationship with God. It says it, I will call out to you. You will be my father, my rock, and my God. And it says, and I will place him, David, as my firstborn, the highest of the kings of the earth. It's a relationship there. So if David's a firstborn in his relationship with his heavenly father, Jehovah, that's your first premise. That's the information we get from Psalms 89. Then you go to something like 1 Samuel 17. Oh, look, David is a lastborn son. He's the youngest son in his relationship with his human father, Jesse. That's all the data that you get about him being youngest. He's not the youngest in a vacuum. He's youngest in a relationship. Where? He's the youngest in his relationship with his human father and his human brothers. So then your conclusion is 3. Therefore, David, or firstborn, must not necessarily mean a birth order, but refer to superiority of rank or preeminent one. Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. The conclusion doesn't follow from the premises. because the one relationship doesn't have to do with anything with the other. If anything, the conclusion should be something like David's family status can change depending on what relationship we're talking about, right? That's the conclusion, not that we all of a sudden redefine the word firstborn. So it's a non sequitur, your conclusion, unless there's some more premises that I'm missing in there. But the way you lay it out, the way I hear it, the way according to your apologetic, the way I've read it in your monographs, the way I've read it in your scholarly journals, the way I read it in James White's book or Robert Bowman's book, it's like that. And it's a simple non sequitur. The conclusion doesn't follow from the premises. You don't get to redefine the word talking about two separate relationships. There's billions, plural, of relationships that David is not a firstborn in. Psalms 89 only gives us warrant to investigate one relationship, his relationship with God. So my challenge to Trinitarians like Shimonian, Kelly, Powers, Seth, Theology with Seth, Gospel First, Light Over Dark Ministries, or whoever's saying something about Jehovah's Witnesses, is how do you make a positive case for not necessarily birth order from Psalms 89:27 without using a logical fallacy? Can you do that? That's a non sequitur. Also, it's a red herring, right? Remember, I said Psalms 89, relationship term. You have a warrant to investigate the relationship between God and David. So it's irrelevant to go to anywhere else and talk about some other relationship. Oh, he's not a firstborn in his relationship with Jesse. Yeah, it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to know that. And nobody's saying that. So that's a red herring. It's a red herring. It's also a form of a straw man. Because no, we're not saying that. So who's saying that? The text, Psalms doesn't say, and I will make him a firstborn to his human father Jesse. So who came up with that? The Trinitarian side came up with that. You guys came up with that. You did. Stop it. So red herrings, non sequiturs, straw men aside. There's another one. What's the other straw man? David isn't the first king of the world. David's not even the first king of Israel. Who's saying that? Straw man. So again, I'm not presenting a positive case for our position. I'm asking you a challenge to you. Can you show your positive case how firstborn isn't necessarily a firstborn without using logical fallacies? That's my challenge. Now I got to go back to work.